Good morning, YouTube. It's been a long time since I recorded any videos. I really wanted to take a hiatus with the changes in my life that have taken place, the changes in the world that are taking place, and kind of reevaluate, my place in the world and in society, where I am, where I want to be, and using the knowledge that I have of my life experiences. Is it something that is worth me actively trying to pursue? Um, as you all know, if you've watched older videos on other channels, basically the purpose is just to kind of take those that are interested on a journey through my life process. And the reason that I find that this may be useful is that in the society that we live in today, even though there is a lot of transparency, I think that there's a lack of morality. And when I say that, I mean that what's being pumped into our society via mass media, just social interactions with each other, is not necessarily success based on moral values or success based on intelligence, but success based on um, perception management, success based on just sheer bullying at times. And the kind of person that I am, for the most part, I'll say 98, 99% of the time, I'm very open and very transparent, very honest to a fault. I'm trying to learn, not to be so much, because I've been thrown into situations where, and not that me being open and honest and good has caused me any direct problems or harm, because I think your character is very important, but it has put me into situations where it takes a lot of energy to put out that positivity of truth and honesty and kindness, and you don't realize that it's a lot until something negative happens to drain it all. And so I guess, again, in a society where not everyone, works to achieve their goal in the same manner, I have to kind of learn to sway that. Recently, and when I say recently, I mean over the last, 7 years or so, when I told y'all I had a false accusation of conviction, but over the last 7 years or so, I never prior to that I never really watched a lot of TV. And with the advent of YouTube, I guess it caught the people that didn't watch TV and kind of, brought them into YouTube. I've started watching a lot of shows that I normally wouldn't watch because I felt that, you know, they didn't fit into my moral character and my moral values. But I remember when I was in court and the judge asked me, he says, do you watch Law and Order or any of these legal type shows? And I was like, no. I couldn't fathom why he was asking me that. But what I kind of gathered was maybe they thought that I was trying to pretend, to be a lawyer. And I was like, no, I never watched that kind of stuff. And after the situation was over, like I said, these past couple of years, I started watching these different crime shows and that type of thing. And a lot of what I saw kind of infuriated me because there's a lot of things that I said that, and I had this happen when I was in court too, that are very snide comments that are not necessarily true. My outlook on communications, or the way that it was, like I said, I understand the world has changed a lot. My mom tried to tell me that not too long ago, but is that you should always think before you speak. Is what you're saying true? Is it honest? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And I'm finding, a lot of times those values and those ideologies, it really does not exist in today's society. People will say that because maybe at the root some people are that way. I've seen this happen, or they appear to be that way, or they use it to manipulate. But when it comes down to it, what they're serving is not those old biblical values, but they're serving the do as thou wilt kind of value system where, when it comes to the bottom line, whatever it takes. And maybe that's just the nature of the world. It's just a survival. Whatever it takes for them to make it is what's going to happen. So a couple of things that I've overcome in my life, not really overcome, but that I've kind of passed in my life, but nothing ever, remains in the past and stays there, but is the false accusation, conviction, and probation. I did that, and the amount of years that it takes out of your life is twice of whatever is listed on paper. Let me tell y'all, that is the absolute truth. And and maybe it's not over. Once I pull myself together, if I ever do pull it all back together again, maybe I'll pursue it further. There was a lot of things I wanted to pursue in conjunction with that, but I think God or whatever higher power there is kind of stopped me, because it's like you're rushing to build up all these things that are supposedly positive, but you need to stop and take a look at the world around you. Are these things even really relevant in this world anymore? Goodness, kindness, because I thought about, I wanted to do maybe public speaking to maybe educate people on the way things are. But the reality is, I think people already know, and with the school systems, do you really think that they're going to allow me to speak on, these things that are the strongholds of the perception of what society is supposed to be? Because had somebody told me, I had to experience, what I went through, but had somebody told me the truth about society, that, that just because a person is a lawyer, just because the person has the title of a safety officer, that it means absolutely nothing. You have to know that person individually to know what drives them, what motivates them. And sometimes what presents themselves as one thing is completely the opposite. And I'm going to tell y'all, that's some scary business, because if you are raised, to believe all these good things without any opposition, without any reality check, so you, if you will, then what happens when you see, and it takes you a few times to see that those things that you're being taught are not true, but once you see that, it's devastating, because you're like, wow, really? I thought that I was doing all of the right things, and I had all of these goals in mind of how I wanted my life to be. But, going back to godliness, I mean, it tells you that your life is really not your own, like, this computer is not my own. And the reason I say that is because nothing that you own really is, and the system showed me that, because at any moment, somebody can come with cause or without cause. Perceptions can be managed and take everything that you own. But that's when you have to realize within yourself that the physical property and those things are nothing, But the scary part of it is when you think about those things that are intangible that are taken, if you build your whole life around a lie, that, you're going to get good grades, you're going to do in school, you're going to be intelligent, and it doesn't afford you anything, and you find that the people in today's society, that are successful are people that blatantly use profanity over and over, that promote sexuality in so many different ways, that promote disrespecting each other and themselves, promote drug use. I'm only 38. Well, I'll be in a couple of weeks, but those are things that were definitely unacceptable in, the society that I grew up in. And I got to learn to edit these videos. I just put them out there. But I do need to edit, because, you want to make a point, and I don't want to lose people. And, when I'm talking straight like this, you're seeing the raw, just what it is, my raw thought process, my raw, me just being me. And you can see the pain that is caused. You can see, my heart stop a little bit. And I think it's important to see the realness, but I think also it's important to get a message across. So I don't want to take away from the authenticity. So I'll do it live, but maybe I'll also do an edited version for those people with short patience. So anyways, be blessed. 10 minutes is up, so.